Hello and thank you for coming back to my channel. I'm currently working on Rox's Journal of Stitchery Volume 9. I think this is part 3 of my project of Textile Tales. I'm working on Wind in the Willows, and I thought I'd just give you a flick through of where I am so far. So I started with an old vintage book that I picked up at a flea market, and I've taken the insides out, so it's just the cover, and I've created a front cover of this particular book, The Wind in the Willows, and I've used some hand patchwork here of blue fabrics to represent the river, and then I found some printed fabric that had some leaves, so I've organised it around the top to look like the weeping willows, and then we've got, I think it's Ratty and Mole in the boat. So that's how I started, and I used a variegated thread to do the title. And then for the second page, I looked at the poem that was spoken by I think it was spoken by Ratty near the riverside, and it was all to do with the duck's ditty. So it was a poem about the ducks. So I've done this in a variegated thread. All along the backwater, through the rushes tall, ducks are a dabbling, up tails all. And then I've done some fabric collage, and I found an old embroidery of a duck. I think it was on a tablecloth, so I snipped that out and I've put that on there. I've pinned it together, so I need to sew it to the front page, but I'm going to do that at the end. And then the next page I've worked on is the badger's house in the wild wood, and it's a snowy scene in the book, so I really enjoyed this page. I did a fabric collage of different vintage cream fabrics at the background, and I've appliqued old pieces of lace to represent the snow, and I've done some thread painting of the bark on the tree, and actually done a little bit of colouring in with a watercolour pencil, so that was fun. And I've done thread painting of the actual characters there. And then the current page that I'm with, that's all the back, can you see all the stitches. This will be sewn down. So last video I finished Toad and the caravan, and I cut out some flowers from some fabric to do some thread painting on top of it. So I found I cut some more off screen, and I've popped it on top, some applique, so it's nice to fussy cut the flowers out of the fabric. So today I'm going to do some thread painting on top of the flowers, and also I was looking to see in the book if there was any sentiments and some sentences or words about caravans, and there is something that it says, the caravan life is the life for me. So I'm going to embroider this at the top here. So I will draw that on using a friction pen. These are heat erasable, so they're great. You can use an iron or something hot to remove it afterwards. So I will draw that on and then use thread over the top. So for now I'm going to embroider some of these flowers. So I've had a look in all my threads, and I've got a selection of different yellows and greens to work on the flowers. So I can take the page off because I haven't sewn it down yet. So I'm just going to thread my needle with a green thread and start doing the stems of the flowers. Let's just get a needle Right, I've got my needle threaded. I mislaid my needle, dropped it on the floor, so sorry about the pause in the video then. Right, so I'm going to start doing some of the stems. You can stick to the colours that are already on the fabric, or you can use what colours you have. So I'm going to use a selection of different greens, and I'm just going to start doing a back stitch along the stems, and we'll see what that looks like. You could do a stem stitch or a whipped stem stitch, give it a bit of height, a bit of definition, but I'm going to see how this turns out first. Just sort of follow, I don't know if you've done thread painting on top of existing fabric before, but you're basically colouring in using thread. So you're just going to follow the outline of the design that's already there. This is why it's quite relaxing and something you can do in front of the TV, or have some nice music on in the background. You don't have to pay too much attention because you're following the lines. You can add in some leaves. I'm going to carry on with this colour. I've still kept some of the existing background fabric, so I'll probably do some embellishment on those existing flowers as well, just to outline some of the existing background fabric. At the moment I'm just going to do these rambling roses. And what you do is you look at the flower and the different colours that are on there. Look at the centre of this rose here. You can see lots of brown dots, so I will do some French knots there to embellish it. And you don't have to thread paint every petal. You could do some highlights, just picking out a certain number of them, or you could do them all, but I'll probably do this rose here and this one. I like this, I think it's like clover, looks like clover. So I will pick out a few of the flowers to highlight, but I won't do all of the flowers. To give a bit of definition. And type that in there. Move on to another stem. I might just change the colour of the stem to colour green. To use a different colour green. I like this green. This is a great thread. This is another variegated thread, and they're great for making leaves, and got a selection in different colours for flowers, so they do make a very good natural look to it. You get some difference in the threads there, the colour. Right. I'm going to do some of these stems here. Like the petals, you don't have to do all the stems, just highlight certain ones. This fabric's got a bit of a shimmer, it's got a gold running through it. Makes it quite pretty. Thread's stuck then on my pin cushion. Through there. This also helps to stitch down the fabric onto the base. Gives it a bit of a quilted feel to it. Do that stem now. Doesn't really matter the size of your stitching. Doesn't have to be strict with the sizes. And then I'm going to do some of the leaves. Just a little bit of thread painting there. So it's a combination of long and short stitches. So basically colouring in the areas. Hope you can see that. Move around, you think, yes, I'm going to do that leaf. You can outline the leaves or give some veins. At the moment it's quite shiny and got gold veins, but you could sew over that if you don't like the shimmer. So I've got quite a stash of fabrics because I've been quilting and collecting fabrics for over 20 years now. I'm a machine quilter, so this is all new, and I'm enjoying the hand stitching side of it. But I'm in the process of looking through all my fabrics and categorising them really, so I want to be able to find all my floral fabrics, and I'm also collecting all vintage fabrics and old needleworks. I like going around to charity shops and finding old treasures and reusing things. You'll see a lot of that in my designs going forward. This is a new channel I've only started this week, so lots of ideas of videos to come in the future, but I thought I'd start with the Roxy Journal of Stitchery and partaking in. So what I might do is carry on doing the leaves and the stems off camera, but in the meantime I think I'm going to show you and write in the words. So caravan life is the life for me. I'm using a friction pen. You could print out words from a computer and trace, but if you make a mistake, you can just heat it up and start again. I'm just going to draw it on. Or you could draw it first of all on tracing paper just to see the placement. Caravan Life is there we go. Caravan Life is a life for me, and I will sew over that with a different colour thread. I was thinking maybe another variegated one. This one's got a nice one, a combination of greens and some browns. And what's good with these, if you come to a part that you're not keen on, you just snip it off, because there's a lighter section that I might not need. So I'll just cut that off and then go to the next colour strand. Or I might decide I want something that pops a bit different. Could even go for blue as it's in the skyline. Might do that. I might use a variegated blue. So I will carry on sewing the leaves and the stems off camera, and then I'll come back and we can look at the flowers. Okay, so I'm back now, and I've been stitching the stems and leaves. As you can see, that's okay. Just adjust my light. So I've done some thread painting of the leaves and the stems, and now I'm going to start doing some of the flowers. So you look at the colour that's in the flowers, and you can see there's lots of different areas. That's lighter yellows and some darker yellows and some browns, and then these petals are quite white. So you need a variety of different shades. So this one here, this thread is quite light, so I'm going to start a thread painting the tips in the light areas. So you just do the same stitching as you did for the leaves. So it's just short and long stitches. Move my scissors out of the way. So I'm just picking up the colour that matches the thread, really. That part of the petal. It happens to be the tips. And I'm not going to do every flower. I'm going to do this one. And some of more of the closed roses. Just follow the shape of the petals with your thread. So, you could stick to just doing one flower at a time, or if you've got the light thread and you've still got enough, you could just move on to another petal. Excuse the noise in the background, that's my dog. I'm sure he'll make an appearance in the videos. His name's Charlie. So I'm picking all the light areas, so it's sort of highlighting the areas of the roses, right on the tips. And the thread I'm using is, I think it's about a 12, Perle 12. That's my favourite size thread, and it's not stranded cotton, so you don't need to select different number of strands. It's just a single strand in your needle. I'm just going around all the petals, adding the highlight colour, and then we will change colour and do the darker areas. If you don't have exactly the same colour, it's already on the fabric. It doesn't matter, you can change it what colour you have. But it's nice to use it as a guide of where the shading and highlights are, even if you're using a different thread colour. So I'm going to go on these whiter petals because they are sort of tipped with this lighter yellow. Just following the shape of the petal. I hope you can see okay. It's quite dark here today. In the UK it's about 7 o'clock at night. If you want the flower to stand out a bit more, you can also outline all around the outside of the petal. I'm not sure I'm going to do that. I'm going to see what it looks like once I've finished the thread painting. You can always outline it at another time. So just keep following the petals, shapes. There's a bit more yellow there, so I'm going to fill that bit in here. Like so. And you don't have to do every colour. Some of the colour, the middle yellow, could just stay as printed on the fabric. I'm going to put some orange in, so it might not, you don't need to do each colour. It's just highlighting certain areas of it. So I'm going to tie off the end of that one, knot it off, and then it just gives a little bit of shape. So I'm going to use, this is a nice orange. This is a slightly thicker one. This is a size 10. It's a little bit thicker. I think the lower the number, the thicker the thread. So I'm just threading that now. These needles have got quite a large eye, so hopefully thread it okay. There we go. Right, so I'm just going to do some of the orange. Can you see the orange areas? Just remember to follow the shape of the petals. Sometimes you just need to do 1 or 2 stitches in that area, but it just gives it a little bit more dimension. Just going to do a bit there, and it will separate the 2 petals. So I've basically used the lighter thread for the highlights, and I'm using this darker orange as the shading, the shadow. It's a nice shape. Okay. And then I will show you how to do some French knots in the brown. Got this colour here. And I don't want to use the yellow section of this variegated thread, so I'm just going to snip it off. And then use the part that I would like. You could always keep your leftover threads and use them on other projects, but I've got plenty of thread at the moment, so I'm okay. So I'll just thread this up. Okay. And French knots I'm going to do in the middle. Pass it up. And then you hold the thread quite close to the fabric, and I'm just going to wind it round 3 or 4 times and then push it back through the fabric, holding it tight, pulling it out, and then you get a French knot. So I'm going to do lots of these in the centre. Depends how thick your thread is, how many times you want to wind it round. So I'm doing 3. Pull it tight. Hold it close. Poke it back through. Do some smaller ones. Just wipe it round twice. Hold it and pull it tight. You can put a variety of them. It's a little bit fiddly, but you do get used to it. And if you make a mistake, you can just unpick it. Even if you don't like some of the stitching you do, you can just go over them and hide them. I did that. I built up the stitches on Toad's face. I wasn't quite happy with his mouth, but then I just went over it, certain areas, back in the green, the original colour, and it just hides your mistakes, so don't panic. You can always rectify something. See, that's gone, there we go. As I've made a mistake there. Knotted my thread. I'm just using my needle to unknot it. Knew I was talking about mistakes there. Just pull it through. There we go. Do that knot again. Oh, no, French knot again. One, two, three. There we go. So it just adds to the centre. It looks pretty. So I will finish the roses off camera. I'm using a variety of yellows and also the white cream roses, and I'll probably thread paint the clover as well. But I think I'll do this rose, this one, this white one, these two white ones probably, and that heather. So I'm going to do that off camera, but I'll just show you the writing, how to do that. So I've decided to use a variegated thread. I've got this great one, it's rainbow colours. So it was, and there's quite a lot of words, so hopefully we'll see most of the colours. Just pull off a section. And you're basically just following the line with your back stitch again. Okay, thread the needle. So you just follow the lines, and just remember that if you've used a friction pen, if you don't stick to the lines, it doesn't really matter because you can erase it. Just doing back stitches. Fiddly on the corner there. Just don't do it right up to the edge because you have to attach it to the other pages. I'm not very good at joined up writing, so but this is my handwriting, so no, it's your own piece of work, so don't worry if it's not calligraphy. Or like I say, you could print out in different fonts on your computer and trace it that way. And once you've done all your letters, you just iron it and all the lines will remove. I find E's a bit fiddly. That's the next letter. I also considered typing out the words. I have got an old manual typewriter, and you can type straight onto fabric. I've got some special fabric that it's got paper backed fabric, can put through printers. So I've used that before on my manual typewriter and then just stitched it onto the piece. So I might do that on another page, another prompt. I thought I'd stitch it today on this one. Just take your time. And curves, you just do smaller stitches so you can follow the curve. You can see that. That's the first word done. So I think I will carry on stitching off camera. And just thank you for watching my channel. It is a new channel, I've just started, so if you could like and subscribe, that would be fantastic. And I will come back for the next video, which will probably be the start of the next book in Textile Tales. And I'm going to look at Aesop's Fables. So that will probably be the next video in this series. So thank you for watching, and hope you have a great week. Thank you, bye bye.